This is a tutorial video for the score reading. So you'll learn from the first measure to measure 21. And for proficiency 1, you only need to learn the soprano and the alto, both with the right hand. That will prepare you to learn the other two voices with your left hand as you go into the higher levels. So I'll show you what this looks like on the keyboard. The most difficult thing about this is just figuring out how these two voices will go together in your hand. So first two measures. Measures 3 and 4 are in unison. Then notice sometimes the thumb kind of scoots around when we do this. As we continue into the second section here, where measure 8 is, you'll see that my thumb has to move more often. So coming from the last note of this line, it gets much more complicated. We have what we call a voice crossing here. You can see I have it marked in the soprano that the alto is actually above the soprano. And then there are some spots in measure 9 where your thumb just kind of has to scoot down. Also, you'll notice some ties where one voice has a tie while the other voice moves. That happens also at the end. So I'll show you what all of that looks like starting from here. Here's the voice crossing. I'm going to just reach my pinky up here on Zicht and then thumb, thumb. Then I can either do this when the soprano moves down, or I can actually do that if your hand is big enough. You can do that. So I'm going to back up and do that again, starting from the last note of measure 7. Voice crossing, Angesicht, thumb, 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 thumb. Soprano moves down, then the alto moves up while the soprano is holding. Both, both, and soprano moves down. That's the hardest part. So let's do that one more time, and I'm going to show you kind of one way to think of this. We'll start from here. And that's all soprano. Now we have both singing the same note. We have both, then alto, alto, both, alto, soprano, alto, both, alto, alto, both. That might be a good way to mark your music. Kind of circle the places where you have both. Moving on, this section is actually pretty simple. When you get to here, you kind of have it made. So just think intervals: third, fourth, fifth, thumb goes down, sixth. Now I'm in measure 17. Just keep thinking intervals. I even have them labeled in this score. Fifth, soprano goes up, sixth, 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 fifth, octave, seventh, sixth. So as you can see, measures 8 to 12 are the most difficult. And let me show you just one more time the way I would work through those. So there's the last note of measure 7. Again, I would think soprano, soprano. There's your voice crossing. Both, 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 alto, alto. Little sections like that, you can just practice both, alto, alto, just to feel how that feels. then where I've just left off is here at the end of measure 9. Same thing here. Start at the end of measure 9. We have both, alto, soprano, alto. So practice that a few times too. Both, alto, soprano, alto. There's lots of different options for fingering here. Both, alto, soprano, alto. Then if we move on, both, alto, alto, soprano. So go through and even mark in your music sections like this where you have both. Like to draw a line between the two when you have both. And then practice in little sections like this. Both, alto, alto, both, alto, soprano, alto. Just focusing on which parts move. Both, alto, alto, soprano.